Hey guys, I'm Randall here. In today's video, I wanted to finally tackle my favorite IP of all time, George R.R. Martin's World of Ice and Fire. While I really enjoyed the first half of Game of Thrones and have been enjoying House of the Dragon so far, I am primarily a book fan. But since Winds of Winter will likely never come out, I'll have to settle for talking about the shows and delving into the lore books. Georgie Boy came up with a ridiculous amount of lore for his world, often at the expense of writing Winds.
He's out of line, but he's right.
But throughout all that lore building he did, Martin actually never bothered to officially name his world. The World of Ice and Fire is a mouthful, so I'll be interchanging it throughout the video with the fan nickname for the planet. What is the nickname for this fantasy planet, you may ask? It's Planetos. Not a very original name, is it? Then again, neither are old George R.R. Martin's naming conventions.
I wouldn't exactly call you original.
The main continent in which his stories takes place is called Westeros, and it takes place in the western portion of the known world. The other continent prominently featured is Essos, which characters such as Daenerys Targaryen and Illyrio Montez have spent most of their time in. Essos is in the eastern section of the known world. Beginning to notice a pattern? Even the most casual Game of Thrones fans are typically familiar with the terms Westeros and Essos, but if you asked them about the third continent Sothorios, they would likely have no idea what you're talking about. I bet you that many A Song of Ice and Fire fans are only vaguely aware of it because it only gets the occasional brief mention in the books. Where is the third continent Sothorios located within the World of Ice and Fire? If you haven't already guessed it, it's in the southern hemisphere of the known world. So Westeros is in the west, Essos is in the east, and Sothorios is in the south. No wonder the fans named George's fantasy world Planetos. It fits right in with the naming of the continents, and Planetos sounds much cooler than Worldos or Ulthos. Now that we have 3 of the 4 cardinal directions, any guesses, dear viewer, what the 4th continent is? Norvos, you say? Well, nice try, but while that does exist within this world, it's one of the 9 free cities of Essos, not its own continent. But don't fret too much, it is located in the northern region of Essos. Now, what is the name of this mysterious 4th continent? It's Ulthos. See, it does complete the 4 cardinal directions, west, east, south, and up. All the bases covered, except Ulthos isn't located on the top of the map, but in the bottom right corner. Expectations subverted again. Good one, George. Now there is a theory that perhaps Essos, Sothorios, or Ulthos wraps around and connects to Westeros through the lands of Always Winter that lies beyond the wall. So there is a possibility Ulthos actually is located mostly in the northern hemisphere of Planetos, but there is little to no evidence supporting this. The best we got is a line in the books from Quaithe to Daenerys. To go north, you must journey south. To reach the west, you must go east. To go forward, you must go back. And to touch the light, you must pass beneath the shadows. Now, it's no secret George loves his prophecies and visions. He likes to give little teasers that foreshadow what's to come, and that they always come true, but in the way you least expect. So let's try to decipher this, shall we? With starting from the back and then going forward while deciphering this. To touch the light, you must pass beneath the shadows is almost certainly referring to Daenerys traveling through the Shadowlands to reach Asshai. Asshai is the city where the religion that worships R'hllor the Lord of Light, or the Red God as he is referred to as in Westeros, originated. The Shadowlands surround Asshai, so Daenerys having to travel through them to reach the city in which the Red God originated is almost definitely what George is referring to in this prophecy. Next up we have, to go forward, you must go back. I interpret this as in order to achieve her goal of obtaining the Iron Throne, she must first backtrack, which she has been doing. Throughout the books, Dany makes decisions that would seem counterintuitive to her goal of reclaiming Westeros in the name of her house. These decisions have led to her building herself an army and allowing her dragons to grow. It's the first part of Quaithe's prophecy, however, that may support the theory that Ulthos is connected to Westeros. So far in our breakdown of the prophecy, Dany has formed herself an army and has arrived in Asshai. Now what? Well, let's take a closer look at the first part of Quaithe's prophecy. To go north, you must journey south. To reach the west, you must go east. So we already figured out that she needs to go to Asshai before she can go to King's Landing. And we know that she must go southeast to reach northwest. Well, what's southeast of Asshai? Would you look at that? It's Ulthos. And what's in the northwest of the map? How about that? It's the land of Always Winter. So according to our interpretation of the prophecy, if Daenerys goes to Ulthos, she will be able to travel to the lands of Always Winter, proving that Ulthos is in fact connected to Westeros and is the suspiciously absent northern continent. But that is just our reading of the prophecy. Who knows what will actually happen in the next 2 books. Regardless of how likely it is to be correct, it remains an interesting theory.
Just a theory, a film theory, and cut.
The reason why I spent so much time in the video on the theory is because there actually isn't a whole lot to talk about when it comes to Ulthos. All we know for sure about Ulthos is that it's a landmass that is located in the far east. It has an island named Ulthos, and that the known portion of it is covered in a dense jungle forest. That's it. George R.R. Martin has been intentionally coy on whether Ulthos is in fact its own continent or not. So maybe our theory is right and Ulthos does connect to Westeros via the Lands of Always Winter, but the more likely answer is as simple as George created Ulthos with the sole purpose of illustrating the point that there is much to the world beyond the knowledge of the denizens of Westeros. Maybe Ulthos is indeed a continent after all, and is George's analog for Australia. Just as Westeros and the Free Cities are his analog for Europe, the rest of Essos is his analog for Asia, and Sothorios is his analog for Africa. And if it's not its own continent, maybe it's just a rather large island, or it's connected to either Sothorios or Essos. But unless it's connected physically to Westeros like I theorized, it's unlikely to be anything more significant than world flavoring. So that's my breakdown of Ulthos. Hopefully I was able to make the least interesting section of George R.R. Martin's world entertaining for you guys. Why did I do my first A Song of Ice and Fire video on Ulthos, you may ask? It's because I wanted to shine some light on the often forgotten fourth continent of Planetos and theorize on its possible grander significance to the world at large. It was also a fun challenge for me to do a breakdown of something so seemingly insignificant within my favorite IP.
Fair enough.
That's all for this video, folks. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. And if you're interested in seeing me cover more World of Ice and Fire content, subscribe so I'll be able to know that you guys are keen on seeing more. This is Iron Mandrill, signing off. Have yourself a wondrous day. Ciao.